Hello and welcome to All Things Seniors. This is your host, Rafiq. I have over 20 years of caregiving experience, and on this channel, I am empowering other caregivers one episode at a time. So, have you noticed that pretty much all our friends, like most of them, our friends, are usually within our age bracket, like within 5 years of either younger to us or 5 years older to us, but usually we have same age group as far as our friends are concerned, right? And what it does that we all age older together, and a time comes that we are all older, and then slowly we start losing our friends. That's a moment of isolation, like that's a moment of slowly feeling that I am being left alone. And I was thinking that how would a multi-age friendship model would work? I also read a book about it. I also did a podcast on it. And I have been purposefully working towards having within my age group both a spectrum of friends. Like there are friends who are more than 10 years younger to me, and there are friends who are more than 10 years older to me. Since I did this podcast about 3 years ago, I started working on it, and now if I look at my friends group, I would say, at least 5 friends who are anywhere from 10 to 20 years younger to me, and likewise, I have 10 to 20 years older friends. What it does to my friends network or overall my quality of life, that I have learned so much from my older friends now who have way more life experiences than I had. I have spent quality time with them in dialogue, in conversations about various topics of interest to both of us, right? Similarly, I have very different and unique experiences with some of my younger friends, so much so that I started playing pickleball with a younger friend of mine who plays pickleball 5 times a week, and I can only play maybe 2 or 3 times a week depending upon my availability and my schedule, also my physical limitations right now. What I have found is that it has given me unique experiences with compared to what my same age group friends had. So today I thought that how about we look at a different perspective of advocacy in this as well. And let me explain what do I mean. There is definitely a huge benefit of having multi-age friendships. That, let's say, a friend of mine who is in her 70s, there have been times when I had to play the role of an advocate for her, because most seniors will need that advocate. There may be times where people either may not take them seriously, or there are these lenses in the society where people perceive seniors in a certain way. And if a senior has an advocate, whether it is in a social setting or a professional setting, or just any kind of support that a senior may need, having another friend in a different age bucket is a huge strength. So I personally feel that most seniors should think about it. Now, how do I make another friend in a different age group? How does it work? Will it work for me or not? Let's talk about it. Number one, we need to establish the fact that it is beneficial. Are there some challenges to it? Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely. There are some challenges to it. For example, there are different energy levels. As I mentioned, my younger friend with whom I play pickleball, sometimes he would like to keep on playing for 3 hours, and my body limits are maybe 90 minutes. Like, we are at different age buckets, we are at different physical capacities, right, to say. Similarly, my older friends, they have a different energy level and a different commitment to certain things in their life, right? And they are not always available to me. I think there is a social perception that friends are always available to do social things together. But in a multi-age friendship, there is an accepted limitation of we will not be able to do all the things always together, but we'll be able to do some things sometimes together. And I think that friendship comes with a responsibility as well, as I mentioned, of an advocacy that a younger friend would play for the older friend, and at the same time, vice versa, the older friend will bring a unique set of skills in this friendship. So these are some challenges and benefits. How do we approach it? Like, how do we take that first step toward making a multi-age friend? Before I tell you that, if you're liking this content about caregivers and older adults, like this episode, subscribe the channel, then YouTube will say, hey, this caregiver is liking it, let me show it to other caregivers as well. And that's how we spread our message. How to approach it? I think the big first step is most times the biggest hurdle. You have to take that first step. If you feel that, how do I approach a younger person or an older person for a friendly conversation or invite them for a coffee or a meal, I think taking that first step is the most important factor here. And you will find that once you go into that conversation, you both will find some commonalities of interest. Like I was telling you, another friend of mine who is in a different age bracket. And when we go and meet, we often talk about politics, which sometimes I don't see as a huge interest for me, but my friend likes it. But slowly and gradually, I have picked up. Now I understand Canadian politics a little bit better than I did before, and that is something which, as a friend, when we go out for social settings, like for a coffee, for a meal, for a walk, or on a pleasant evening, we have this chat, and I have been learning about it. Right? Similarly, what I bring to that relationship is, there are certain technological things which my friend, who is like about 15 years older to me, has not been keeping up to. And I emphasize to him that, hey, it is important that you keep an eye on these things, and he is now taking interest in newer technologies. And I think we both have learned a lot from each other, which we would not have maybe otherwise had learned from friends of similar age. So taking that first step is important. We both were part of a similar business group. He has a business, I have a business, and one day I said, hey, you know what, we often meet in these business settings. How about we go out for a meal? I would like to know you more. Remember the sentence, I would like to know you more, is a very good icebreaker to invite somebody in a friendly setting other than a professional setting. Also, another way would be go and take part in social activities, like for example a paint night if you like painting, or a pottery evening if you like pottery, or handcrafted drawings. Because in those settings also you will find people from all different ages and spectrum, and generally it's a very communal, it's a large table, people are making these things and they're active, and you can then again reach out to somebody and say, hey, why don't we sit together on the same table today, let's enjoy this experience together. And that way you open that conversation. My hope is that by sharing this with you today, I spark a thought that if you are a caregiver, and if you see that your loved one, whether it's your mom or dad or uncle or neighbor, whoever that person to whom you're providing care, and if they do not have many friends in different age groups, maybe expose them to certain settings or talk with them about if they would like to have this. I think sometimes it works, most times it doesn't work. Like if I tell my dad that you should have friends who are younger than you, my dad will say, I have you. Great, I have that relationship with him. But I encourage you as a caregiver, maybe you are still open to the idea. If you are in your 40s to 60s, that's usually the sandwich generation age. And I encourage you, I challenge you that go out and in your next social setting, look for someone who is part of the same social group. If you are going out for a walk or a hike or a running group or whatever your social exercise is, look for somebody who is from a different age group and try to forge that or relationship which may ultimately become a friendship. I hope today's conversation gave you a new perspective. I always say that we learn from each other, right? And if there is something that you have picked up, you would like to share in the comments, I would love to learn from you. Take care of yourself. A rested caregiver is a better caregiver. Good to see you this week, and I'll see you next week again. Ciao.